Veritas Oquetis by Bones Boy 15, Chapter 32, A Father's Wrath. Oh God, my head! Sasuke let out a groan as he sat up in his bed. He pressed a hand to his forehead and closed his eyes. Jeez, who made the sun so bright? An atom was thrown expectantly from the other side of the room and nailed Sasuke in the face. The headache he awoke with suddenly intensified as he was knocked from his bed to the floor, with murderous intent in his gaze. Sasuke got up off the ground and sought out both the object that caused him pain and the one who dared throw it. His eyes fell on one bagged-eyed Hakuyuki, who lacked his usual sleeping wear and was clad in a green bathrobe. Pressed to his head was an ice pack the size of a cat or small dog. Sasuke, do not yell. Haku's voice was hardly above a whisper, but the volatile tone that was accompanied in it reminded Sasuke that he knew very little about Haku and hadn't really seen the boy when he was genuinely upset, nor even drunkenly upset. Hangover upset Haku, Sasuke decided was not someone he wanted to piss off. Sorry. Sasuke held a hand up and looked around his bed. He found the offending object and held it up in disbelief. Is this? Yes. God, Haku. Sasuke failed to find words and then palmed his face. The pain intensified yet again, and Sasuke snapped as a consequence. Who throws a fucking shoe? For the love of the ancient Cthulhu! Kurama's voice roared from the bathroom. Shut the fuck up! Kurama's shout was cut off by the sound of various of voracious vomiting. Sasuke wasn't all that affected by it. Kurama knew what his limits was when drinking before the resulting hangover would become violent as it was now. Haku, however, turned as green as his bathrobe and rolled over his bed, losing his stomach's content into a container of some sort. Man, hangovers suck. The voice of the unusual unhappy Uzumaki muttered as he rose up from his slumber. Sasuke looked over at him for a brief second, then did a quick double take. Naruto's comforter was bundled up on the ground, and in its place was a mountain of bras varying in size, shape, make, and color. Not a one of them looked like they were owned by anyone outside of the school grounds. Naruto seemed rather indifferent over the amount of braziers that acted as his bedding, going as far as to nonchalantly pick a stray teacup that was draped over parts of his face and toss it aside. So that's where you and Son ran off to. You made a raid? Sasuke asked incredulously. I guess so, Naruto muttered, his brow furrowed as he looked down at his collection. He blinked. Huh, none of these are any of Team Ruby's? How do you know that? A groaning Haku asked as he wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. A super perfect godfather, Sasuke and Naruto deadpanned. Right, Haku nodded while Naruto picked up a rather risque black bra that had gotten stuck under his back and squinted his eyes while he examined it, mostly in part of the way the lighting stung his retinas. The blonde team leader's eyes went wide, and all color left his skin, leaving him pale and in shock. Oh, crap, Naruto whispered with growing concern. I think these are velvets. Bullshit. Sasuke and Haku appeared immediately at his side. No, yeah, these are velvets, 'cause here's Coco's. Huh, that's a bit disturbing. Meh, I'll suppress that later. Now, why did I... Oh, right, I got these for Kurama. Naruto chuckled and hopped off his bed. He went to the bathroom and threw the door open with a loud bang. Kurama, I knew you'd feel like shit in the morning, so here's something to make you feel better. A set of red eyes with slit pupils and black sclera glanced up. For a brief moment, Naruto was surprised to see his fondest friend without his usual set of sunglasses or night mask, but shrugged it off. If he had the same after-morning reaction to the overindulgence of alcohol that Kurama did, he would probably forego the usual concealing of his most unnerving features. The eyes of the fondness in question glared daggers at the hyperactive blonde from where Kurama rested his head on the side of the toilet. Naruto, I'm only going to tell you this once. Get out, shut the door, and go die in a deep, deep hole. Sure thing, bud. But first, I got this from your velvet cake. Naruto tossed the bra at Kurama and shut the door, completely unfazed by Kurama's surprised yelp and the sputtering that followed before he went back to his bed and scratched his head. Now, why the hell did I take only bras? Maybe Son would know? Sasuke suggested while he put the ice pack he snatched from Haku against his head. Meanwhile, a certain golden-tailed fondness was trying and failing due to his throbbing headache to come with a reason for his team as to why his bed was covered entirely by panties of various materials, colors, and sizes. It would have to be determined that, like with Naruto's collection, not one article belonged to a member of Team Ruby. Maybe. Naruto agreed as he picked another bra up. He shrugged and tossed it to the other side of the room. I'll deal with it later. All I did was steal them while people were sleeping, so no harm, no foul. I think, yeah, because that's not asking for karma to come into play at all, Haku muttered, while he became fascinated with a green decup-sized brazier. He furrowed his brow. This seems familiar. Oh god, Naruto, you did it. Hmm. Naruto blinked while he lazily spun a pink lacy bra around on his finger by the strap. Remember when you were plotting a prank on Team Juniper's room? Haku set the bra down and gave his team leader a hard stare, though the bright red blush on his face did little to make him look intimidating. He pointed at the bra he just set down. These were in Pyrrha's drawer, and those pink ones. Naruto tilted his head and stopped spinning the bra. His eyes went wide again before he squeezed them shut, and he shuddered as he tossed the bra away. God, those were touching that. Man, what the hell is wrong with Nora? I mean, geez, that thing was as black as the night sky and had a mind of its own, he muttered while he dropped the bra in his grasp and rubbed the bridge of his nose. How she's not bow-legged, I don't understand. Maybe she doesn't use it. There, Haku suggested. His face burned bright as the line of red trailed down from his left nostril. Huh, so all of us are perverted, Naruto said with a sly smirk. Or, here's a thought, whatever you're talking about isn't Nora's, Sasuke suggested. Maybe it's Ren's? Both Naruto and Haku's necks nearly snapped with how fast they turned to look at Sasuke, their skin pale again. What? Sasuke asked with a blink. Are you talking about some kind of muscle relaxer, right? Sort of. Naruto and Haku continued to stare at the onyx-eyed teen. They shared a concerned look and then had a quick partner huddle up. Sasuke arched the brow as the two whispered back and forth quickly. They occasionally looked back at Sasuke before falling back into their heated and hushed debate. Finally, after a few minutes, their huddle broke and they faced Sasuke with a concerned frown. Sasuke, you do know how women masturbate, right? Naruto asked. Seriously, Naruto, yes. I know, I had to tell you when we were kids. Then you know what a vibrator is, right? Haku asked. What? That morning quickly turned into one of the strangest conversations the boys of Team Nox would ever have, and little did they know that the rest of the day would be just as eventful with their team leader. I'm so glad to hear you both have been doing well. Yang smiled happily from where he sat on Blake's bed. The other four girls, all showered and ready for the day, seated across from him. He smiled gratefully at his daughter's teammates. Thanks for keeping an eye out for my girls. I know they can be a handful, right, Swai? Swai barked in agreement. Yang and Ruby sent the corgi betrayed frowns, while Blake shook her head in bemusement and Weiss rolled her eyes. Like you wouldn't believe, the Sneehara snorted. Ruby's luck has gotten us into more than enough messes. And then there's Yang's tardiness. Yeah, sorry about that. I just forgotten to wake up sometimes, you know. Yang's sheepish laugh seemed like it was forced, and that alone earned her more than one odd look. Ruby furrowed her brows in thought. But you're only tardy when you go out with Naruto. Yeah, me and Naruto became quick friends almost as fast as me and Blakey. Yang cut in again as she slung her arm around Blake's neck, under her breath so low that no one else save for Swire heard her. The blonde hissed through her teeth. Play along and I will buy you all the tuna you want. Blake's eyes glossed over slightly and she shook her head. No, now was not the time to fall into Yang's pocket. Besides, she already did more than she needed to by sending a scroll message. Not to mention, Yang would probably twist the words later to insinuate tuna meaning something inappropriate. Thoughts and memories of Yang's more than annoying pranks pulled alongside her goof of a boyfriend went through Blake's head. A particular memory involving a laser pointer, a herbal substance, and a dog whistle made Blake's eyes twitch. You'll never get an opportunity like this, a voice that sounded suspiciously like Weiss whispered in the back of Blake's head. It's the biggest prank, no, the best prank you could pull on Nang. They'd forgive you eventually. No, you can't, Blake. Another voice, one that sounded fairly similar to Ruby, cried out in protest. Naruto and Yang are your friends. You don't go around and stab your friends in the back. They didn't care about your past to win the White Fang, and Naruto's an honorary ninja bro. You can't betray your ninja bro. Quiet, you. Blake, listen to me. If you don't say anything now, you'll never get another chance. For all the ninja dude in the world, what's the best way to prank a ninja? Blow him up before he knows you're his target. Inner Wise cackled madly. Be righteous and true, and your friends will do the same for you, Inner Ruby chanted. You are a ninja, Blake Belladonna. Embrace the ninjitude, embrace the chaos, Inner Wise snapped. No, be the Black Knight, Inner Ruby cried. Embrace your Shadow Warrior side, Inner Wise creed. Black Knight, Shadow Warrior, Black Knight, Shadow Warrior, Black Knight, Shadow Warrior. I think I should talk to Kerr and I about these voices, and perhaps maybe lay off the midnight snacks, Blake thought. And though both brought up good points and were very alarming in their sudden appearances, Blake knew she had to do something. Whatever action she took, it would determine how the rest of her week would go. A prank on Naruto and Yang of this measure risk being retaliated against. But on the other hand, if she didn't do anything, Blake would remain the silent target of her friend's unintentional, slightly mean-spirited jokes. Then the only action I can take is you must have hit your head on something if you're mispronouncing your boyfriend's name like that, Blake drawled. Preemptive strike, Inner Wise cheered. Seriously, where did you come from? Are you a leftover from my midnight snack? Blake's internal question was inquired with a mastered mask of indifference on her face, while she received a look of horrified betrayal from Yang and stared from the equally shocked Wise and Ruby. Oh, she understood why Yang and Naruto pranked her like this now. The looks on their faces were absolutely hilarious. Well, they were until Blake looked at Yang's father, who had suddenly gone rigid. His right eye gained a heavy twist, almost violent, really, and his smile became strained. Swai, who was glued to the man's side as soon as he walked in the room, bolted from the bed into the bathroom and door slammed shut behind him. Blake could have sworn she heard the door locked too. I'm sorry, did you just say my baby girl has a boyfriend? Taeyang said. His strained smile widened even more. Because if you did, then that means those pictures I dreamt about a few days ago weren't dreams, and that would mean some filthy bastard was touching my sweet little sunshine. She meant my girlfriend, Dad, Yang said quickly, possibly trying to salvage the situation. A finger was pointed at her. Yang Shalong, you will sit there and be quiet, Taeyang muttered, his eyes still twitching violently. You and I both know damn well that if you were dating a girl, your uncle would have found out about it by now. How would Uncle Crow know about it? Ruby asked, confused. Isn't he away on a hunting trip? Ruby, catch! Taeyang tossed an object to his youngest daughter. The girl squealed as she caught the item and discovered what it was. A new chamber cleaning set for a Crescent Rose. I'm going to use this right now, Ruby declared as she zipped out of the room to her locker, fully intent on doing as she claimed, leaving her teammates and sullen sister alone with her disruptively calm father. So I'll ask again. Taeyang leaned forward and gave Blake a heavy stare. Does Yang, my sweet innocent hot-headed bundle of sunshine who never tries to do anything wrong, have a boyfriend? Blake felt Yang's glare boring into the side of her head. However, Taeyang's eyes were an equally frightening shade of red, and frankly, he seemed to be the type of father who didn't mind going to jail. Hell, the man, if he was anything like his daughter, would probably run the joint before his sentence was even a week in action. Yes, stiffly, Taeyang rose from his seat and headed for the door. His eldest daughter was hot on his heels as soon as he started to rise. The buxom blonde protested and pleaded with her father to calm down and let her explain as he made his way out of the room. Before he left, Taeyang's suddenly cold exterior melted away to reveal the warm, sunny persona that had greeted them that morning. It was a pleasure to meet you girls. Then he left with the protesting Yang in tow. Wise turned to Blake, wide-eyed and still in shock. Wow, did her jokes really annoy you that much? Wise asked. No, Blake mumbled. Then why did you? I am a ninja. Fear my ninjitude. Noted. John Ark was having a pretty good morning. Coming from a farm and small town like he did, John was used to drinking to relax, or at least had been around long enough to help his mother tend to his father and sister's hangovers after they drank themselves sick. A quick reveal of this trick to his male teammate, who was mysteriously unaffected by drinks he had the night before, and the proper brew was made and downed within the first hour of his waking. Now, fully dressed and intent to train with their ungodly, energetic teacher guy, John opened the door ready to face almost anything that would get in his way. He was not ready to walk face first into the barrel shotgun. Ah! John yelped and jumped back, not once thinking about pushing the door on his would-be attacker. The attacker was a man that was a head taller than John was, with blonde hair a lighter shade than John's, burning red eyes, and clothing that looked frighteningly familiar. Are you Naruto Uzumaki? The man asked, darkenly, the shotgun not wavering in the slightest. John shook his head, wondering what the hell his fellow team leader done this time. The man growled, where is he? Down the hall. third door on the right. You can't miss him." John squeaked out. The man nodded and pulled the shotgun up. He gave John a gentle smile, and his eyes bled back into a calm, lilac shade, and John then realized just who it was he had encountered. "Sorry about that. He and I need to have a little talk about boundaries." Yang's father, yeah, yeah, genius he was not be, genius he may not be, but John could have made that connection real fast with head trauma. Smiled at him and shut the door. John fell back to his butt and flopped back. He pulled the hand over his chest and stared at the ceiling. "Naruto, it was nice knowing you." Dad, stop." Yang pulled at his jacket, but Tai Yang would not be deterred. "I just want to talk to him, Yang," Tai Yang informed his precious eldest daughter. She knew that this would be bound to happen, didn't she? It was every father's right to have a heart-to-heart with any would-be boyfriend, and Tai Yang was fortunate enough to have a moment such as this pushed back to her 17th year with a shotgun. Okay, that was a valid point on Yang's part, but what if the boy did something outlandish or suddenly went nuts? Taeyang needed to defend himself. If that happened, not to mention the classic double-barrel shotgun he currently toted around was far more intimidating than any modern weapon. Decades old, Taeyang's father elephant gun left quite the impact. "I just want to talk to him," Taeyang reiterated. He was aware that trying to explain this to his baby would be like trying to teach a dog to speak, and they'd been working on it with Swai, so he knew how hard that was. Yang wouldn't understand, far too enamored with the misguided puppy love she felt for the dead man, her boyfriend. "Dad, how'd you ever bring that on campus with Alice?" "No, never mind. Dad, listen to me. Just let me explain. I was going to tell you." Yang protested. "Oh, wasn't she cute?" Taeyang knew she'd have told him as soon as he was 6 feet under, maybe 3 feet. For some reason, he came off as overprotective. Honestly, what foolish notions. "I just want to talk to him," Taeyang repeated himself for a third time. As he came to the door, the kind boy a few doors back directed him to. He lifted a hand and knocked politely on the door, so as not to scare his to be polite. "Dad, please stop." Yang peeled on his arm, but Taeyang refused to budge. His little sunshine was strong, but he was stronger. "I just want to shoot him." Crap. Well, he might as well be honest. Taeyang did want to shoot him. That didn't mean he would. Maybe just to scare him once, or twice, or 5 times. Maybe until the boy looked like cheese. "What?" Yang's voice rose an octave. "I just want to talk to him." Jeez, what a rude boy this was, making him and Yang wait outside for so long. "That is not what you just said," Yang shrieked. Wow, she really reminded Taeyang of her mother sometimes, and then there was times she reminded him of Summer too. Taeyang would have drifted off into fond memories of his time with either of his daughter's mothers, but he was a man on a mission. What was that mission? To kill, no, maim, wait, no, destroy, no, murder, no. To talk with Naruto Uzumaki. Damn it, why does that name sound familiar? Taeyang wondered, only to be pulled from his thoughts as the door cracked open. "Yeah, why do you want... Whoa, hostile." The man that answered the door jerked back when Taeyang leveled the shotgun at his sunglass-covered eyes. "Naruto Uzumaki?" Taeyang asked lowly. The boy at the door, a russet-haired boy, almost a blend of dark eyes and red, looked past him at Yang. He then looked back at Taeyang and held up his index finger. "One moment, please." The door shut to a crack. A moment later, Taeyang's talented ears heard soft conversations through the opening. Then the door opened to reveal a half-dressed boy with sunny, bright blonde hair, whisker-marked blue eyes, and a beaming grin on his face. "Angel, what do I owe this? Oh, yipe!" The boy yelped when Taeyang leveled his twin barrel at his face. "Naruto Uzumaki, against my better judgment, I'm going to say yes." Target acquired. "You've been dating my baby girl?" Taeyang's eyes narrowed when the boy stiffed in fright. That was enough confirmation for him. He pulled down on the shotgun's hammer, prepared to pull the trigger next. "Got anything you want to say to me?" "Grovel, maybe. It won't help, but it'll make me feel good. In these last moments of my life, all I can say is 3 words. Naruto Uzumaki looked past Taeyang and gave Yang a brief grin. "Totally worth it. I'll carve it into your tombstone." "Dad, someone's trying to flirt with Ruby." "This boy can live. For now." Taeyang's priority shifted from protecting Yang from a no good, ill-minded boy to protecting Ruby from being harmed or defiled in any way, shape, or form. She was all he had left of Summer. She had to be kept innocent to remain his baby girl, which is entirely why Taeyang ran away screaming, "Daddy's coming, baby doll!" "So that was your dad?" Naruto asked as he watched the oddly murderous man run down the hallway with his shotgun waving over his head. "Yeah, sorry." Riang rubbed her arm. "He's a bit overprotective." It is what it is, Naruto shrugged and rubbed the back of his neck. So, hey, I know this might sound weird, but did any of Team Ruby lose any, underwear? Not that I'm aware of. Why? Yang asked, her eyes narrowed. Oh, no reason. Naruto stepped into the hallway and shut the door behind him. He put his hands in his pocket and locked down when he felt his scroll vibrate weakly in his hand. Pulling the scroll down, Naruto's shoulders slumped and he checked. Man, Kurama got me good if I had seen this though. Seen what? Yang asked, tilting her head in an effort to sneak a peek at the scroll. Naruto turned and turned the translucent screen her way so she could read the message. Yang instead, here, hide now. Yang blinked a few times before her eyes blazed red and she punched her palm. That cheeky little, oh, when I get my hands on that sly cat, I'm going to pound that pussy. God, you're so hot when you're furious, Naruto mumbled as he collapsed his scroll and tucked it into his back pocket while he scratched the back of his head. So what did Blake do to make you so mad? She told my dad about you, that little rat. Yang crossed her arms and huffed. She is so lucky I thought so quickly on my feet. Belle told your dad, huh? Naruto rubbed his chin and narrowed his eyes. A fair move, my ninja rival. Naruto clenched his hand into a fist and shook it at the ceiling. But this injustice, this stain on my honor will not stand. This I swear. Naruto, why are there Leon cards in your boxers? Yang asked, having taken notice of the plastic items when she ogled her boyfriend's normally concealed abs. Yeah, Sun's were good too, but he kept them out all the time, so Yang soon began to accustom to them. Naruto's, however, were only revealed to her when they did the horizontal tango or don't wear hours of mourning like this, so she ogled them whenever she could. Naruto looked down and pulled the cards out, counted them, and then grinned. Huh, cool. I scored $55. Guess you liked the show. What? Oh, damn it. Are you sure it was safe to leave him out there? Haku asked as he, Sasuke, and Kurama sorted through the bras in an effort to guess what pair belonged to which girl. You did say that the man had a shotgun. He survived worse. Kurama shrugged. He held up a blue bra with pink polka dots. So $10 is from Bakuo. No bet. Sasuke snorted and grabbed the bra. He tossed it to Kurama's bed where a small pile had started to grow, as was one on Sasuke's and on Haku's. Sandy grains on the strap. The owner is from Shade Academy. Fuck your eyes. Seriously? Kurama grumbled. He rubbed his eye. Man, who'd have thought a shotgun to the face would scare the hangover out of you? And Haku stepped out in a mirror to snag a few pills from the nurse's office. Sasuke added, nodding to the feminine boy. I didn't snag him. I asked. Haku mumbled, the disbelieving smirk on his face as he picked up a white lace. The three boys shared a dull look. Atlas, the lacy white brazier, joined all the others that were piled on Haku's bed. Cripes, how'd Sun and Naruto get all these? Kurama muttered while he dug around through the bras. Seriously, was everyone under some sort of influence? Who knows? Sun was a stowaway, and Naruto stole a lot of things for us back with Team Kakashi, Sasuke said with a shrug. He opened his mouth to say something else when his team leader suddenly burst through the door and landed on his bed in the middle of the room. The rest of Team Nox quickly looked at the cause of Naruto's sudden re-entry. Yang glared around the room with her bright red eyes. She looked at the three boys her boyfriend was teamed with. A finger pointed to them accusingly. Did any of you join him in entertaining a crowd last night? Yang asked through gritted teeth. Sasuke, Kurama, and Haku shook their heads rapidly in negative. Yang narrowed her eyes, looked at the gathered bras, then back at the boys. Bra raid? Naruto did it. They quickly and aimlessly sold out their leader. Yang nodded and stormed into the room. She grabbed her groaning boyfriend's ankle and dragged him out of the room. As you were, boys. Yang dismissed them with a smile as she pulled Naruto along. Naruto rolled onto his stomach and clawed for escape. No, it wasn't my fault. I was drunk. I tell you, I was drunk. He wailed and reached out to his team. Guys, please save me. Thick, teary trails ran down his cheeks from either eye. She's gonna yell at me. You're goddamn right, I'm gonna yell at you. I mean, strip dancing for me is one thing, but for the whole bar, and then going on a drunken underwear raid without me? I thought we were a couple. We're supposed to do stuff like that together. Yang complained as she tightened her grip on Naruto's ankle and continued her powerful stride out of the room. We'll have to petition Osmond for a fourth member, Kurama idly commented as the two blondes disappeared out of the door and around the corner. Yeah, Sasuke nodded. Think Sakura would like to join? Haku asked. Kurama grinned and Sasuke choked on air before he rounded on the grinning androgynous boy. That's not funny, Haku. I bet to differ. You're sure you're okay? Yes, Dad. Ruby rolled her eyes for what felt like the 500th time. She returned her attention to her work, scrubbing down every inch of her dismantled baby. Ruby smiled, eagerly anticipating putting all the pieces back into proper place, recalibrating the sights until they were just right, and then testing it on a willing target. Or well, she would do all that as soon as she got rid of her father. Don't get Ruby wrong, she loved her dad to bits, but there were some times that he just got a bit too clingy, like she was a porcelain doll that would shatter if it was knocked off of the shelf. Yes, she knew she looked like her mother and acted like her, and according to her Uncle Crow, enjoyed the same sugary snacks as she did, and that sometimes it was too much for her dad to handle, but she was a huntress now, or well, a huntress in training, but the point still stands. Are you absolutely dead? Ruby groaned and set down the screws. She was determined to scrub Poison spotless with the new cleaning rag. She turned around away from the table and pulled out the ultimate sad puppy dog eyes. Please leave me alone. All right. Taiyang relented with a sigh. He quickly wrapped his arms around his youngest daughter and planted a gentle kiss on the side of her head. The giggle that escaped Ruby's lips made him smile and back away. I'm sorry, Ruby, but it's been so quiet since you and Yang came here, and then when I come visit, I learn Yang's been wrapped around the fingers of some little punk, and just don't grow up too fast, okay? Well, duh, Dad, I'm 15, Ruby said dryly. She gestured to her dismantled weapon. Crescent Rose is way more interesting than Naruto is. Even if he's got awesome confidence, he won't let me touch. Ruby's eyes watered up, and she brought her hands up under her chin. I just want to take it apart once, maybe a few times. I'll put it right back together, I swear. Ruby, Taeyang began slowly drawing his youngest attention back to him, his face twisted into a look of strain and disgust as he struggled to ask his question. What do you know about Yang's boyfriend? Naruto? Ruby blinked as she rubbed her chin thoughtfully. Well, he's strong, nice, funny, but weird. Like Yang, his teammates call her a female version of him, which is strange because Yang's not a female Naruto. She's Yang. Gee, sometimes people can be so dumb. Would you say he's a good person? Taiyang asked and folded his arms over his chest. I guess so, Ruby shrugged. I mean, he's not a bad guy. He helped Blake stop Roman the jerkface and fought off some big muscle guy that knocked me out. Although, Ruby narrowed her eyes, he did steal my cookies and read Weiss's diary and calls Weiss Sneeze instead of Snee, which is really funny, but don't tell Weiss I said that. Huntsman Honor, who Taiyang swore with a small smile when Ruby glanced around warningly. Good, good, because I don't want her to get mad at me. She always gets so mad whenever he calls her that. Ruby muttered. She scratched the side of her head. Let's see. He's from a village in back row, and he loves ramen, and he's got a really weird godfather, and his mom and dad are the Bloody Death, and the Thunder God. Oh, and he got eaten by a Grim a few times and exploded them from the inside out. Wait, hold up. What was the last part? Taiyang blinked. He didn't just hear what he thought he heard, did he? Naruto got eaten alive by a few Grim? Ruby repeated. No, before that, he's from Bakugo and loves ramen. Ruby, oh, you mean his mom and dad? Ruby grinned cheekily while Taiyang stared at her. There were times that Crow's influence was too apparent on his youngest daughter. Ruby turned away with a nervous chuckle. Well, he said his mom was called the Bloody Death and his dad was the Thunder God, I think, which is so cool. Hey Dad, how come Vacuo schools give out titles and we don't? I want to be Red Reaper. Or wait, no, that's too dark. Crescent, no, wait. I can't use Crescent Rose as my title. It takes away from her awesomeness. Taiyang had tuned Ruby out and his gaze became distant. Bloody Death. Well, it's no wonder he seems so familiar. That's Kushina's kid. While talk about awkward revelations, hard to believe Yang would go after Crow's ex-kid and Thunder God. If that's not Minato, I don't know who it would be. I wonder how they're doing. I haven't spoken to them since Raven and I got... Oh wow. Way to stay connected to your friends, Taiyang. And Taiyang thought before he pinched the bridge of his nose and rubbed it. Man, almost 20 years of no contact. How the hell do I apologize for them? Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but after Raven left me and Summer died, I totally lost track of time while trying to be a dad. Speaking of fatherhood, how's this for irony, Minato? I tried to kill your son because, get this, he's dating my eldest daughter. I know, right? What are the odds? Oh my god, I tried to kill Kushina's son. Taiyang realized with growing horror. Don't panic, don't panic. Maybe she mellowed out over the years. Yeah, sure, maybe she'll only break every bone in my body instead of ripping me to shreds. an image of a shadowy woman with wavy red hair, glowing with white eyes and fire-like aura chains appeared in Taiyang's mind. Tears of fear began to pour out of his eyes. Who am I kidding? Kusa's going to eviscerate me, rip me into tiny pieces, feed me to Grim, and then Summer's going to kick my ass out of heaven. Taiyang silently wailed. He grabbed his head as his eyes went wide. And then there's Minato. What'd you say, Dad? Ruby asked. Nothing, Ruby. Just dreading a reunion with some old friends. Taiyang sighed as he racked his hands through his hair. He then looked up at the ceiling. So, Yang's boyfriend is Minato and Kushina's son, huh? Has he told you about them? Not a lot, Ruby said quietly. Apparently they were really strong. Were? Taiyang snorted in amusement. Yeah, like anything would make those two. Taiyang's amusement smile fell as a distant memory suddenly came to mind. A morning when he was jostled awake by Crow, who he faintly recalled being very distressed and in a hurry. It was hazy and distant. The amount of drinking he had during that time exceeded Crow's normal intake and left their impact. But the rushed in away call suddenly flooded into clarity. Tai, listen to me, man. I can't stick around to explain, but you have to wake up now. Something big just happened in Con. Oz can't reach them through the CCT, and Minato Scroll isn't answering. I have to. God, Yang, don't climb on that. For God's sake, Tai, wake up. Don't drink some coffee and watch your daughter. God. Tai covered his mouth and let out a pained groan. That was what, almost 18 years ago? Tai took a careful seat. His legs weak from the revelation. Their teams were among the top 10 to come out of Beacon Academy and his generation, but they weren't close, especially after Kushina and Crow split up, which now that Taiyang thought about it, was around the time that Minato and this girl went their separate ways. They were gone. Ruby. Taiyang found his voice and looked at his youngest, who'd gone back to work on her prized weapon. Do you trust him? What? Ruby asked, not looking away from the cylinder she was cleaning. Naruto Uzumaki. Do you trust him? Why wouldn't I? Ruby asked, looking at Taiyang with a smile. He's one of my friends. I think. Don't worry too hard, baby girl, Taiyang said and ruffled his daughter's hair. She swatted at his hands with a whine, causing Taiyang to chuckle. For the moment, it took his mind off of the spiraling questions. So, what have we learned? Yang asked while she emptied Ember Silica right belt chamber and reloaded it before doing the same with the left. That you have amazing aim for such a widespread shot, Naruto muttered from where he laid on the ground. His siblings slowly dwindled away after he let Yang vent her frustration and stress on him. He gave her a crooked grin when she sent him a small look. Don't go drinking without your supervision. And Yang pumped her fist to load the next round into her gauntlets. And I'm not allowed to kiss Sun or any other guy without you present to witness such a, and I quote, spectacular moment. Naruto chuckled and winced as he got back to his feet. One of her shots nearly went up Main Street Avenue after she learned about the highlights of his and Son's show. He wasn't exactly sure how it almost happened, but he knew it did almost happen, and that was enough to make Naruto wary. And Yang pressed as she crossed her arms over her chest and arched her brow. That the only brassieres and panties that I should concern myself with are the ones you might or might not be wearing, Naruto said as he cracked his neck and the last of his semblance flickered away, the glow in his eyes and hair gone from existence. He walked over to Yang and slipped his arms around her waist, pulling her close and laying a quick peck on her lips. And that you can totally kick my ass when I'm absolutely terrified of you. I'm sorry, but I can totally kick your ass anytime I want, Whisker Boy. Yang corrected him with a pointed tap on the nose. Naruto made an attempt to bite the finger and grinned when Yang quickly pulled it away. Guess you'll have to wait until the Vital Festival to find out, honey boobs. Chicken. Nah, just don't want to give Ruby Sneeze Bell or your dad a legitimate reason to want to kill me, Naruto said with a chuckle. He looked around the training field with slight apprehension. Speaking of which, he's not going to jump out of the bushes and try to shoot me or something, is he? Nope. Yang grinned and rested her arms loosely around her boyfriend's neck. Dad's gotta keep his kids in line on their trip. Apparently, his escapade earlier made his fellow chaperones a wee bit upset. The kids, well, they're rowdy. Your rowdy and my rowdy are two entirely different. They catcalled out Professor Goodwitch during her welcoming speech. Bullshit. Naruto pulled back with wide eyes, and they're still alive, which is why Dad's on full-time chaperone duty now. Yang shrugged. It sucks that Ruby and I can't hang out with him longer, but look on the bright side, at least he won't try to kill you anymore. That's a victory in my books. Naruto grinned along with Yang until a gleam appeared in his eye. So, considering we're both not exactly needed for the next few hours, and there's a perfectly good supply shed about 20 feet to our left, Naruto, my father is on campus, and my sister, your team, could come looking for us at any minute. Yang gasped in mock outrage. She then grinned and leaned a little closer at her boyfriend. But I can outlast you this time. Oh, you want to make it interesting? Naruto asked, his eyes narrowed. Stakes. If you manage to tire me out first, I'll serve you ramen each night in a maid's outfit, Yang offered, judging by the glossy look in his eyes and the dopey smile that crossed his face. That was an appropriate stake for Naruto. When he came out of La La Land, Yang continued, but in turn, when you ask for a break to regain some energy, you have to take me out to any restaurant of my choice. I do that anyway, and we christen it as ours. Either way, it seems like I win with these scenarios, Naruto muttered. Well, you won't be the man we christen it. We christen it. Yang explained with a grin. Oh, okay, huh. Gonna need a second to process that. Naruto blinked a few times and then shook his head as the fire appeared in his eyes. Alright, you're on, Yang. Yeah. Yang leaned in. Let's seal it with a kiss, Whisker Boy. Oh, I'll do more than kiss, honey boobs. Naruto whispered huskily before they pressed their lips together. They broke the kiss and then scurried eagerly over to the shack. Naruto shut the door behind them and locked it tight. A few hours later, they would emerge with one of the blondes smiling triumphantly, whilst the other looked disappointed with themselves, but were still utterly satisfied. End of chapter 32.